here's a case where you're beginning with this complex molecule A, and you're breaking it down to the same product P through several steps. Intermediates B, C, D, and E. That's energetically downhill. Let's say you are in a situation where you want to go the other direction from this product back to A. You can't just go this way. You're going to need a different pathway, and that would involve potentially totally different intermediates to get back up there. So the question is why? There's two reasons. This shows one right away. You don't want to just be going around the loop all the time. Futile cycling would be wasteful. So if you've got different enzymes, like here's enzyme to go from P to J that isn't on this pathway, you can regulate this one and shut this one down without affecting the flow in this direction. And in fact, you probably want to stimulate enzyme 1 up here. So under one scenario, when you're trying to do breakdown, you would open the gates by activating that first enzyme, and you turn off all enzymes on the reverse pathway. So you can say go to one and stop to the other, so that you have flow just in one direction. You can't do that if you tried to go the reverse direction using the same enzymes. There would be no way, it would be either the enzymes are on or they're off. If you're using the exact same set of enzymes, you wouldn't be able to control it that way. So this allows separate pathways, interconnecting the same endpoints allows regulation to happen. The other thing has to do with being energetically downhill in its own direction. So if we stipulate that A is higher energy than the end product B, this degradative pathway is downhill. It's going to flow thermodynamically. There's going to be no barrier for going this way, like water flowing downhill. You can regulate it to stop it, but if you open up the enzymes, it's going to go this way. Now, that tells you right away if you are in a situation where you want to make some A out of B, you can't just activate these enzymes anyway. It's not going to flow uphill on its own. The only way to do that is to put in some energy in the form of ATP, right? So what you're going to need is some different enzyme here where you can have a reaction that calls for ATP to be put in. That enzyme that breaks down the ATP and pushes it along isn't even on this pathway. So you're going to need separate pathways just so you can do the energy inputs on the uphill direction. It's like if you're walking between two floors, getting between two floors, let's say in a mall, where you can walk down the steps from the second floor to the ground floor. It's easy. So if you're carrying a heavy load, you're not trying to lug it upstairs. You're going downstairs. It's an energetically downhill direction. But if you also want to be able to carry goods to the upper floor, going up those steps, you're going to need to go a different pathway. So of course you go to the escalator and get an energy boost to get up there. So this energy boost in the form of ATP here requires a separate set of intermediates with different enzymes to allow energy input. So you need that separateness for energetic reasons and to allow you to put on regulatory controls that are unique to each pathway. So if you throw enough ATP at the problem, this pathway, even though B is at lower energy than A, by the time you factor in the energy content of the ATPs, this becomes a downhill reaction too, energetically. It becomes favorable. You just need to throw enough ATPs at the problem.